Peace, everyone. I didn't want to harp on this topic, but this is a part two of Music No Industry, and the topic is why it doesn't matter that so-called FBA or black folks from the United States or the African diaspora, forced African diaspora, created hip hop. And you can check out part one of that video. I'll leave it in the comments or the description box. But this is part two, and I'm going to make this as brief as possible. Why, in my opinion, it doesn't matter. So, I find it frivolous, again, that this conversation is being had and it's being promoted by a grifter, and people are getting all up in arms because Busta Rhymes said Caribbeans are primarily responsible, and that's false. People, Africans from the Caribbean, are not primarily responsible. We all collaborated, but the base of the music is the experience of Africans, of the diaspora in the United States. But I say that to say it was still a Pan-African creation. Even so-called Latinos, and I put that so-called Latinos because that just means people that speak Spanish. These are people of African and European admixture, just like us, but they primarily speak Spanish. Some of them were there too. So, what's the big deal? What's the hoopla? But to go further, why it doesn't matter? Because in this art form that we created, that we say we created, that we're harping about who created and why it's so important that we identify who created, how is it that in this year, whatever you think it is, 30 or 40 years after the creation, 40 plus years after the creation of hip hop, or spins around the sun after the creation of hip hop, you are limited in what you can speak on and make so-called mainstream or popular or promote to the masses of people in hip hop. You will be sanctioned, you will be limited, your bandwidth will be cut if you speak on certain topics. How is this your culture and you have people from outside of your culture dictating what you can speak about? And this is how you know. When I was an artist in Philly, I did a competition called Search for the Coldest MC. I was lucky enough to win the competition and be able to perform on stage with Ice Cube and who was one of my favorite artists ever. I even got a chance to meet him, a real cool guy, and I don't mean to name drop, but I'm just letting you know. And I performed in front of one of the biggest crowds I ever performed in front of. It had to be at least 2,000 people inside of the room. And people like Wale, Fabulous, DJ Drama. Sorry, I say all to say that, I performed on this stage, and I remember somebody who was a publicist or something in Philly saying, "Oh, they let you in? Oh, they didn't know who they were dealing with." And they said that tongue-in-cheek, meaning that because my music is more politically astute, more politically poignant, more culturally oriented to what you want to call radical elements or pro-black or pan-African elements, that, usually my type of artist would not get the look. And that was the case in many venues in Philly. A lot of the biggest venues in Philly I performed in was because of outside competitions that came to the city and chose me. It was because of local elements. Even some so-called black folks, they tried to block me out. But I say all that to say that she was saying in so many words, you can't speak the way you speak and be expected to be on these big stages. Because what I'm saying, I'm not talking about killing people. I'm not talking about selling drugs. I'm not talking about murdering and smashing people's girlfriends and baby moms and wives. I'm not promoting the most low grade degradation, just bottom level imagery of us that's commonly promoted from the minstrel shows to today. And I say that to say that when you look at what's popular right now, you have like 5 or 6 modes of artists. and you're not allowed to venture outside of those modes. You have, the super thug, killer, drug dealer, shoot 'em up, bang bang. I sell drugs. I kill people. I've been in jail. I smash your moms, smash your baby moms. Blah blah blah. Then you had the playboy type. I get the ladies. I get money. I smoke weed. Blah blah blah. Then you have the more frivolous type. The safe hippie type. They don't really speak about anything. And not saying that you have to, but they don't speak about anything that might, raise a hair or strike a nerve. They're very politically safe. And when I mean politically safe, I mean that they're safe for major corporations to put a brand on and help promote their brand, and for these major labels to pretty much, put up in front of you, because they won't, in another pun, not pun, but a cliche, rock the boat. They won't say anything outside of what they are allowed to say. And it's funny because you're allowed to say, this is our culture, right? So we should say whatever we want to say, right? If that's the case, this is our culture. This is what we're bickering about, who created it, but you can't even say what you want to say. You have to say things that are safe. Even the thug stuff, that's a safe image, because we've always been portrayed as the brute. From minstrel shows to Birth of a Nation, the first full-length feature film created in 1915 by D.W. Griffith. The show was shown on the White House lawn and lauded by the president at the time as one of the greatest films ever. It's considered like the first full-length feature film, and it set the foundation for all the films after it and the media after it, because these common tropes of the brute, the Jezebel, which you see in hip hop, another trope that you see, you got the wet and to give head good is, I smash for the money. That's another trope. The cool or the pickaninny, the frivolous little black children, acting wild, goofies, the littles and the youngs. You have those. Tragic mulattoes, I won't get into that one. Maybe another time. But yeah, you have these tropes, these common tropes that you see from those days that are still here, and those are very safe to fit in. But as soon as you venture outside of that, then you're in trouble, because either the only people are going to be scared, you saying that stuff, people will come after you, or they're not going to give you a look because it's outside of their sphere of influence or reference, because they're so used to being bombarded with the imagery of us being just backwards, criminal, vagrant, savage, that they don't know anything outside of it. Anything outside of that is corny, weird, whack, awkward. It's and really what they're saying that it's not acceptable to my perceived master, so I can't accept it. I don't see myself as that. I see myself as what my oppressor sees me as. And you can call this preacher all you want to, but these are facts. People are scared to say what they really want to say in this culture. You either have to promote those few stereotypes I said, and if you do anything outside of that, if you get a look, you're lucky. But usually you're going to fall on deaf ears. So I say all that to say, if this is our culture, then how come you have to fit inside the mold of a corporation that is not of the culture? You should be able to say what you want to say, right? You should be able to promote what you want to promote, right? Why do you have to promote drugs and liquor and guns and just the most just basic low level just nonsense? Why does that have to be promoted? Anything outside of that is not seen as cool, hip, or street, or of the people. And we are the only people where I heard somebody else say this. Our underworld is promoted as what we are. Nobody else's underworld is promoted as what they are. Because you want to get to the nitty gritty of it, the people that run the music industry gain control of the music industry because they were banned from all the other industries. So the music entertainment industry, they were banned from other industries. So they got into the music industry where they could parasite off our people, our natural talent and ability. And the music, the only thing that we really had to tell our story and keep our cultural ties to our ancestral lands, that's what we use. We use our music. So to have that violated, and then to sit here and bicker about who created the art form, When you can't even say of your truth, you can't speak your truth inside of your art form without being sanctioned by outside people who are not of your culture. Tell me why it doesn't matter who created it. I'm from Philly. Some of the greatest artists on the planet come from Philly. And I'm not just talking about rap. I'm talking about just artists, period. Instrumentalists, vocalists, songwriters, poets, you name it. Some of the greatest. But you cannot speak how you want to speak inside of your culture of so-called rap, hip-hop without being sanctioned by outside people. But you're telling me that it's more important to say, we created hip-hop, Black Americans, and the Caribbeans, they didn't create hip-hop, and this is a big hoopla, blah, blah, blah. Why does it matter? I remember a time when you would hear KRS-One on the radio next to Tupac or De La Soul or you name the big artists at the time. Now you won't hear any those type of artists on the radio at all. So tell me, why does it matter who created the art form when you don't control the art form at all? You can't break an artist. I didn't even say you can't run a label or a streaming platform or a radio station. Or can you break an artist? Very simple. Can you break one artist? Can you change the cultural norm that is promoted now, aquil, aka drill music? Can you change that from in trap music to something that's more productive and realistic view of our people? Or do you have to be safe for certain people? And you know what I mean to certain people. You know what I mean by safe as well. So I find these arguments to be frivolous. Where's the edge at? Where's the people speaking the truth at? Where's the people saying what they really want to say? Not saying something that's molded so that they won't get dinged by certain social media outlets or certain corporations or certain people that run these labels and marketing outlets and things like that. So that's my rant. What do y'all say? In my opinion, it don't matter. You can say what you really want to say inside your culture because it's your culture. But if you can't say what you really want to say in your culture, you gotta play a certain game to get in. Then what does that say about your culture? Is it really yours? But that's my time. I don't want to keep this long. Remember, turn on high frequency. I have music out right now. New music will be coming out soon. Makes sense. It's out right now on all streaming platforms. Be sure to check me out soon for more music, and I will get back to you very soon. All right, y'all. Peace.